Mr. Basu, we have been asking you directed questions, your overall comment on the policy.
So I think the most important thing is it is giving a very good signal. The signal is that the Reserve Bank is accommodative, number one. I think the governor started his speech with that and ended it with that. And that the Reserve Bank will do whatever it takes to support the revival of growth. And he sounded very optimistic also, and which is borne out by reality that while the first quarter, as we know, was disastrous, things have started picking up from Q2 onwards, and Q3 and Q4 should entail good revival. And he was also optimistic on the inflation front, that while inflation is high now, and which is why the rates have been left unchanged, the accommodative stance will continue, and all the financial institutions are being encouraged to go out and support the sectors. And the other significant point which we have seen from our own book, which he mentioned, is the three-stage or three-sector recovery. That is, you can't say it is V-shaped or U-shaped or K-shaped.
Three-speed recovery.
Yes, it is sector-wise. And that is precisely what we are seeing in our book itself. Companies which are in the more difficult sectors, they are taking a little more time, but others are coming back very fast, like in, say, power generation is one example, cement is another example, and I think the governor also gave a lot of examples. So I think with this, the market will be very, very encouraged that the government and the RBI are fully aware of what is happening on the ground. And with that, things should start picking up. And we are looking forward to this month and the next month, you know, the festive season, when the retail lending kicks in. And the anecdotal evidence that we have from some of the cities in spite of COVID, while it is a little worrisome in terms of the number of people coming out, but in places like Calcutta, I'm told that a large number of people are shopping and things like that. So hopefully things will pick up from now on.
Mr. Basu, we expect you to know everything about Calcutta. Thank you very much indeed for joining us with your key takeaways. Actually, our guests have been with us for some time. So, Aditya Narayan, just hold on. I just want final thoughts from Anand and Neeraj as well. Neeraj, you know, the market is absolutely on fire. The Nifty Bank is up 2.5, so 570 points higher. Anything that has finance to it is up. So all NBFCs are higher. All banks have gone through the roof. Of course, it's headed by Lakshmi Vilas, but then it's generally a financial sector thumbs up. Your thoughts, your final thoughts from the policy?
So I'll just react to what Taimur had to say, that there is a directed lending. I'll say that there is no directed lending, but there is definitely a very significant nudge being given to lend. All sorts of interventions and measures have been unleashed on the markets to make sure that the yields stay put despite very high, fiscal slippage this year. My view is that whatever we expected a bit of a fiscal stimulus, actually a significant fiscal stimulus, but looks like there are constraints on doing that. So certainly Reserve Bank is stepping up in a big way to make sure that at least on the monetary front and on the rates front, things sort of continue to be pro-growth and very, very supportive of growth.
I have two or three specific questions, Neeraj, before I forget. Do you think larger homes will now get more home loans? Do you think that sector could find demand? And secondly, this complaint that TT Srinivasaraghavan was making, that you can take the horse to the water. Will more NBFCs below AA also find takers or find creditors, lenders like yours?
I think on the size of home loans that will find traction in the market, again, it's fundamentally, do we have that kind of a demand? The large size home demand is driven by both the income view as well as the asset price view. I'm not sure if both of those views change immediately, but to the extent that rates nudge some people to buy home loans, also buy larger homes, I think that's somewhat possible, but I'm not so sure about it. Second, as far as the
NBFC loans,
liquidity to NBFCs, I think what is significant in my view is the ability to use TLTRO funds to give loans, right? It was missing in TLTRO 1 and TLTRO 2. You could only buy bonds and give it as an HTM. So to the extent the banks can use the TLTRO funding to provide loans, I would think that that would be a significant impact. Though we need to look at what is the kind of sectoral exposure that banks have, and actually the bank's exposure to NBFCs has gone up quite significantly over the last, I would say, 6 to 9 months. So we need to see how much of that space is there with the banks to do that. But that is something that could nudge banks to do a little bit more on the NBFC front.
Okay. Anant, your thoughts as well on the same, will luxury real estate loans pick up, and, any other points that we missed out you'd like to highlight?
So I'll start with a summary, Ritu, if you're okay. Look, I think the RBI and MPC have taken a very, very clear bet on growth over inflation. They're clearly being optimistic, and they're doing everything that they can to try and support some kind of a recovery out here. And there are no half measures. To give full credit to RBI and to Governor Das, right from the time we saw the pandemic strike us, right from February of this year, I think the RBI has been absolutely in the forefront of doing what it can. So it's being optimistic, it's doing whatever it can. Clear messages, look through inflation, we will support growth for now, we will not worry about inflation. Second, we will keep a lid on risk-free rates, including SDL rates, the state development rates, and they are going to come down. They will not allow it to go up for now. They're very comfortable about the government borrowing program. And as Neeraj was mentioning, they're trying to fill it to credit as well, not necessarily sectoral, but general credit to go up as well. It's a huge bet on growth. And it's a bet against inflation. Do I see a risk eventually? I think there is a risk. Right now, we don't want to be a wet blanket. I think we're all craving for some kind of good news. So this is great. But we cannot forget the fact that the amount of liquidity in the system is very, very large. M3 growth is 13.4%. M1 growth is almost 19%. And this is even before credit offtake takes off. With so much of money, particularly rural hands, inflation could be a problem despite all the excess capacity that we have, which means 6 months, 1 year down the road, unless we follow up with the RBI steps, with productivity, with things to ensure that supply also gets up along with the demand, we could see financial stability issues, but that's for a later date. On your question about on real estate homes, look, everywhere else in the world, all asset prices are going up, whether it's equity markets, whether it's, look at the real estate in the US, for instance, it's doing extremely well. With so much of liquidity in the system, it's natural that assets should go up. In India, because of the overhang of issues that we've had with the real estate sector, it's been very, very depressed. Even now, the confidence around this real estate is very, very low. Personally, I'm going to be a contrarian. I do think real estate has a future in India. And of course, there is a huge amount of correction and reform which has to happen. But I do think overall real estate purchases will go up, particularly with work from home and so on and so forth. Might be depressed for now, but it's a matter of maybe 1 or 2, 3 years. I do think that real estate as a sector will probably see the bottom over the next few months, and maybe when the high-end real estate ought to start doing well from now.
Okay. Quick word on the way the MPC members have voted as well. While all were unanimous in holding rates, only Mr. Jayant Verma differed when it comes to the accommodative stance going well into the next year as well. What is your overall reading of this new MPC, and the tilt that many have been debating is more dovish or neutral?
We'll have to wait for the full minutes, Ritu, before we kind of give a prognosis on that.
Yes.
But I do think that the degrees of freedom that Governor Das and the RBI will have with respect to executing this very clear strategy of giving growth and a fillip as opposed to inflation, I think will be supported by this current MPC. I think they'll be very pragmatic for now. The true test will come if inflation actually starts to rear up on a monetary side as well, not just on the supply side, which we'll know only 3-6 months from now. Okay. For now, I think a possibility of a rate cut cannot be ruled out either in December and certainly not in February, when the inflation print that the MPC walks in with could be as close as 4%. So it's possible that we see a rate cut in February.
Okay. All right. But I mean, this is important what Ritu is pointing out. Thank you very much, Anant and Neeraj, for your patience. Jayant Verma, people assumed is one of the dovish members, but he is actually voted against continuing the accommodative stance through the current financial year and into the next. Now, what exactly he has opposed, we cannot say till we see the minutes, but he's opposed perhaps the length of the accommodative stance, we do not know. But the man of the moment is Aditya Narayan, because the market of the moment is the stock market. The Bank Nifty had risen to a 2.5% gain. Even now it is 2.25% higher, and the Nifty and the Sensex up 0.7 each. Aditya Narayan, what have you made of the policy? Do you think it's a blockbuster policy?
No, I think it's a good policy. I think it's a very stable policy, and in many ways it seems to lend an air of continuity. I think which is very, very important, and which hasn't always been there. I think this bit about looking through near-term inflation, I think that's a very, very material statement. And I think the third thing that really makes it interesting is that there is now a shift from the supply side to the demand side. I think all this while there has been a sense of managing liquidity, providing funds to the system, making sure nothing goes wrong on the downside. I think this is that point in time when you're kind of turning towards growth. And I think to that extent, I think it is a material shift in approach. And I think that's what the markets are fundamentally liking. Have they gone full hog? No, they haven't. And it's something you need to watch through. But clearly from a policy perspective, I think you're seeing a little bit of a shift in terms of approach, and it's now looking forward rather than looking behind, which is where the shift is coming through.
Okay, so I mean, at the moment, do you think financials is the way to go? We already saw some of the financial buy recommendations coming today. I saw Jefferies and Citi, maybe there were others, but these two clearly upgraded financials. And in this week, the Nifty Bank is up 7%. Your thoughts? You think there are still pickings here?
So I think what is happening with the financials is that over a period of time, with the restructuring norms coming in, with more liquidity coming in, with more data coming out in terms of what some of the asset quality issues are, which you will also see over the next month or so as the results play out. I think there is a sense of stabilization. I think where you would see these move aggressively is if you actually either get a growth rebound, or you get an asset quality rebound, or you get a revenue rebound. Now, for each of these, I think it's a little early to get too excited about. But I think the bottom on that, in terms of how bad could it get, what could come out from a recognition perspective, I think that risk is easing. So I would say this, slight bounce that you've seen over the last week or so, and the stabilization in their prices, that's more a reflection of, okay, it should not get worse. Will it start getting better or not? I think that is, you probably need to wait a little bit for that. And I would probably spend the results season in the next couple of months, waiting for those opportunities to come, rather than making this a blanket turn in terms of the focus shifting from downside to upside.
Okay. There is also a push for real estate. More generally for NBFCs, the TLTRO money can be used not just to buy bonds and listed instruments, but even they can be lent as loans to the NBFC companies. And separately on the demand side, this loan to value, linked to risk weight is available for higher value homes. You think real estate becomes a buy or anything related to homes?
Yeah, so from our perspective, real estate stocks have been a buy for a while.
Okay.
And these have been some of the reasons, right? What you're getting here today is actually a push for getting for incentives for demand across the spectrum, right? So far, what has tended to happen is really been very, low end or middle end. This is the first time where you're looking at a policy support for so-called conspicuous consumption, which I think is actually a very good thing. It is not as if there are any tax concessions that are being given out there. It's simply a recognition of the fact that you need other ends of the economy to move to for there to be broader good. So to that extent, I think it's actually a very good policy move. From real estate itself tending to be a buy or not, I think volumes will go up. I don't think you will necessarily get too much in terms of prices. So to that extent, I think from a real estate asset class, I wouldn't necessarily run into it for capital appreciation. But in terms of volume, in terms of churn, in terms of activity, I think that will go up. And that has broader economic implications rather than necessarily stock implications.
Okay. Well, Aditya Narayan, before we let you go, more generally about the markets. I mean, this has been a steaming rally. We are within, breathing distance of 12,000 at this juncture. Is this profit-taking zone, or do you think the growth impulses is what the market is betting and you would go ahead and buy at these levels? If yes, what?
No, I would actually wait out a little bit, because basically what this has been is, this is a kind of a normalization rally, which has come on the back of, the real economy also tending to normalize, right? But do you have growth impulses in the economy, beyond where we are at this point in time? I'm not so sure about that. I think the jury is still out on that. And I think the market is beginning to discount some of that. So when that is beginning to happen, unless you have a strong call on this recovery actually continuing and you're effectively looking at the fourth quarter where you see net GDP and earnings growth, until you are confident of that, I think you need to be a little watchful. You know, what has happened is you've looked at the production side in terms of data rather than the pure demand side, right? The end demand side. And there could be a little bit of a gap in that. And the reason why a lot of companies are getting more optimistic is because their production numbers are looking better. You have a festive season, so you know they're putting in the inventory for that. But whether there is going to be end offtake of the magnitude that the market is now factoring in, I think you need to be a little watchful of that. So I would actually sit back a little bit. But clearly, I think between a certain level of normalization, between a good policy framework, between a certain focus on demand rather than just looking back, I think the direction is much more positive than it has been for a while.
Okay. On that positive note, Aditya Narayan, thank you very much indeed for joining us in this credit policy special. There is no denying that the policy has got a thumbs up from all markets. You saw the rupee almost becoming, 73 to the dollar. And then you saw the bond markets also giving almost 1 rupee thumbs up at the 10-year level itself. And you have the equity markets, all guns blazing, especially in the bank nifty and in the finance stocks. So it's an extremely positive response that you have got from the markets. To be fair, the markets already had a tailwind and they just needed this push. But it's an amazing feat on the part of the Reserve Bank and the MPC to not give a rate cut but yet sound extremely positive or extremely positive for the specific segments of the market. Positive for NBFCs, positive for home loans, and very positive for the bond markets. Reserve Bank, for the first time, I think ever, going to come out and buy state government loans, because there are going to be 2 lakh crore of auctions of state governments and more will come in the fourth quarter. 2 lakh crore is only in the third quarter. And if the state government loan yields don't fall, corporate yields will not fall because they're all arranged, one above the other. And this is a great push to bring down state government loan yields and therefore general market corporate yields as well. You will have to say that it is an extremely a positive, very creative policy, trying to look at individual home loans, trying to look at SME loans, trying to look at bond markets and NBFC liquidity, as well trying to look at state government loans, Government of India loans. There is a little bit for everything and for the macros as well. Yes, you may complain that what if inflation doesn't come down from its 6.97% perch? What if it is a persistent inflation? But you have to take the bet at this point in time. When growth is negative, that's what requires attention, and that's exactly what the government has done. Well, that brings to a close our special coverage of the monetary policy. We close with the news that all markets have given it a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching, but don't go anywhere because we have a very important analysis coming up on the Vedanta delisting. We will have the big man from that group joining us, so don't go anywhere.